Get 10% off all VeVe, Ecomi, and Omi merch at CavellAnderson.com using the code Christmas10. Our primary line will always be available, while our limited edition section will only ever have 100 items total and will never be sold again. Get it while supplies last. Yo, what is going on, y'all? I'm Cavell Anderson, and we are back with another VeVe and Ecomi video. In this one, we're going to be checking out another pretty big YouTuber who has been talking about the Omi Token and VeVe lately. So basically, I guess what's going to be happening in this video is he's actually comparing Chiliz to Ecomi. So I want to hear what he has to say about this. It should be interesting. People have sent me this since I've been away. So now we're back. We're going to be checking it out. Be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. And yeah, let's get into it, man. His name is Paul Baran. And yeah, like he's a pretty big YouTuber. He has over 200,000 subscribers. So, I mean, that's pretty substantial.
All right, so welcome back. Today we're going to dive into a token analysis on a project called Chiliz. You guys have probably been watching this for quite some time. And what we're going to kind of do here is compare this to Ecomi. And there are some similarities into what both of these are doing and can do for the projects.
I'm interested in seeing some comparisons to Ecomi, because I've never seen a comparison that I personally thought fit. But I am interested. Also, if you all have found any projects that you kind of put on the same level as Ecomi, let me know in the comment section down below. Obviously, I hold Ecomi to very, very high standards. So yeah, it's not, I don't see much on the same level, but yeah, if you see something in a different way, make sure you share those projects. I would love to check out some different stuff.
And kind of the growth of how some of these kinds of projects are going to be rolling out in 2022. My name is Paul Baran. Welcome back to TechPath. Let's get into it today a little bit in comparison between the two projects. If you're not familiar with, let's start with Chiliz. And Chiliz being a token that supports a project that is very related to the sports side of things and collectibles. And if you're in sports collectibles, you probably know what I'm talking about, everything from trading cards, etc. Same thing kind of rolls out into comic collectibles for what VeVe is doing as it relates to Ecomi, the token. And there's a lot to unpack here, so we're going to get into some of these things.
So I guess it's a comparison of like the collectibles aspect. So the comics, I guess you see some similarity between the comics and the sports side for Chiliz. Could be accurate, I'm not sure. I guess we'll continue to hear them out, but I guess even though VeVe and Ecomi is going to have a sports vertical as well, so I don't know if it's still similar. I think that basically what differentiates VeVe and Ecomi is the fact that it has all of these things, not just one tiny aspect. So
first, I want to jump over to the coin market cap just on Chiliz, just to give you guys an idea of where this is currently trading at 30 cents. You can kind of see a little bit of the activity here. We'll go to the year-to-date for Chiliz, and let me zoom in a little bit on this one, because this one is a little bit tricky in the sense that it did have a really nice run up right here when it started reporting some of the partner deals with Socios. Now, Socios, and I'll explain a little bit more about what Socios does, but some of the deals that they've been making throughout the year has been fairly significant. We'll talk about each one of those. But as you can see, trading up around 78 cents. A lot of people have looked at this one really as kind of a dog, because it has not been performing after that initial push. It did have a little bit of a late run up right here in September, another fall off, and now what we've seen is another potential run up. A lot of people thought that this, had we not seen the Bitcoin adjustment, that this particular token would have made an all-time high. That would have been interesting to watch. The cool thing is, if you want to call it that, because there are a lot of people probably holding this bag right now, is that it is now trading at 25 cents and or right around 30 cents, but you've seen the low here around 25 cents where it bounced off, and that to me is a potential buy for what we know about Socios and just in general. I want to get into a couple of things here with Chiliz, and just so you guys kind of understand. First, B2C product to launch natively on the Chiliz chain, which is socios.com. Today hosts scalable tokenized fan engagement ecosystems for 70 global sports IP and caters to over 1 million registered users. Reason that's important.
That's crazy. Ecomi's actually bigger than this already. They have only 1 million registered users, and I'm pretty sure Chili's was out doing this thing before Ecomi even came out, wasn't it? And Ecomi already has 1.5 million active and over 2 million downloads. So yeah, it's kind of a big difference and already in what people see as the more valuable one. It just goes to show you how great Ecomi is right now.
Important is because VeVe has 1 million users as well. So there's a lot of similarities here.
1 million active. It's a difference. And like not that they have 1 million registered. It's not the same as having it active.
Not only in size, but also in function. And if you think about it in the collector's arena, both these tokens and both these projects have a lot of similarities. So they're really good to compare in case you are trying to maybe look at this particular sector right here as a potential investment for you in 2022.
I don't think a comparison to VeVe is a good, and I don't think it's good to compare anything to VeVe because, I mean, you really do your due diligence, chances are 9 times out of 10, VeVe is going to win that comparison, and you're just going to want to invest in VeVe, especially if you do enough research. There's no company that compares right now, no company that's even close. Like even the comparison that he just made is really just a comparison of people who just totally signed up versus a comparison of just purely active people. Because if we're talking about people who just signed up, we're probably closer to 3 million signups now at this point. And it's yeah, if VeVe came later, you know, so.
Being only 2 years old, though, on this one, Socios has become leagues further to grow as it matures into an established fan engagement portal.
So it's been out for 2 years. Yeah, that's definitely a bad comparison. 2 years old.
And then in terms of user base and the platform experience itself, but it's also already a proven model. That's one of the things that I really like about Chili's and kind of just the strength of it. There's some other things in here. Chili's is pledging to invest. Let me highlight that for you guys. 60 million to essentially launch its first new set on the platform experiences of Chili Chain outside the world of socios and sports. So I see some things coming with Chili's that could continue to grow into the entertainment field, and this could go in a lot of different ways of where and what this might mean. But if you look at Socios' website, socios.com, this again is more than a fan. This is the whole idea around collecting tokens, team tokens that are moving out, and I think a lot of people have watched and kind of been prepared to maybe look at Chili's as an investment, mainly because of the potential for sports and what blockchain might be, especially around fan tokens and how that all evolves. There are some news items that I wanted to show you guys. One was this piece right here. Of course, this happened back in November, and this was New England Patriots NFL team partner for Socios blockchain report launched. This is pretty cool because if we see more and more of professional football, meaning U.S. football, starting to move into this direction, the likelihood is we'll see NBA franchises, hockey, we'll see all of the major mainstream sports, as well as what we've already seen in the European soccer leagues, which has really been kind of the big baseline of where a lot of these projects and fan tokens have been very active.
What's interesting is we just got confirmation that a huge player from Barcelona, one of the biggest soccer teams or football, UK, I guess football, I forgot where that's popular at, whichever countries that goes towards, that version of football, which people would say is the original. It's crazy. We already have one of the biggest teams. Some of their members are using VeVe now. They're using the platform. They're already buying collectibles and NFTs. And this is just the guy who's publicly come out and shown off one of his collectibles. I can't imagine how many other people on his team is also doing it and just haven't made it really public. Because my man is not doing it by himself, and he had to find this project somehow. And obviously, if you found a project that you like, you really love, you're going to probably share it with your teammates who's, yeah, I mean, you know, like, so in my opinion, we're really starting to move in on mass adoption. Like VeVe and Ecomi is really just taking this project to a completely different level. And even though this project, Chili's, is focused on sports, I mean, VeVe, the fact that it's not as restricted towards any one thing is really what sets VeVe and Ecomi apart, I feel like. So yeah, I don't, I'm still not really seeing the great comparison side of things, but I mean, it is good that he's talking about Ecomi anyway, I guess.
In Europe. Now, there are quite a few different projects out there that do not necessarily compare to, but there are a lot of potential opportunities in the side of European football, soccer, and why and if Socios and Chili's kind of could culminate as more of a global position for sports in general. So that's why I like this particular token, and we'll look at the sentiment here in a second. I wanted to jump over to Ecomi and kind of compare. Now, Ecomi's situation is a little bit different. Their story and narrative is more around this whole aspect of Immutable X and the conversion of low gas fees to be able to start to trade in the VeVe app, and of course the ability to trade in and out of the VeVe app away from their native token or native trading unit, which was gems. This has all changed here recently with Ecomi and with what's happening in VeVe. So if you're collecting, if you're a collector, whether you're a sports card collector, a comic collector, these two particular projects are going to be very interesting to you, both from an investment standpoint, but also in a utilization standpoint, meaning real utility of how to, and potentially how to use and also sell your collectibles as we start to see. But if you look at the run up here on Ecomi, and this is the year to date, I mean, they had this nice little pump right here in early November, and this was really on the news of Immutable X coming in and essentially partnering and really taking it to the next level for Ecomi in terms of transaction and low gas fees. You look at that one right there on 11.6, it started to slide a little bit, and then we had this little bit of a run up right here between mid-December. We had that nice little pump, a little down, and then another rise, which is where we're currently trading right now at 0.006 cents. So I like both these projects, and I've talked about these extensively on the show and why I like them. The key here with any collectibles platform,
I think that, I guess he's just comparing them on the strength of that they're both collectibles platforms. So, I mean, if that's the comparison, then yeah, it's they both have the words collectible in them. But I think that these couldn't be more different, to be honest with you. There's really nothing that's like VeVe or similar to Ecomi in the slightest, to be honest. I think that's what's making them so successful. That's what's making this project one of the most promising projects of this decade. The fact that there's nothing like it. So yeah, I mean, outside of them being both being collectible platforms, I don't really see any great comparison of the two, to be completely honest. But that's just me.
platform is that if you've got a good mass of users, meaning 1 million users, absolutely, now you've got something. And with VeVe, I think it's only going to explode. The category of sports, though, is very interesting to me. Now, the question will be, do we see VeVe getting into the sports arena at some point down the line?
VeVe has already confirmed that they're in the sports arena. They already have a partnership with the NFLPA. And then they also have confirmed that they have other sports partnerships and licenses to go along with that, because obviously they want to introduce categories together. So when they release sports things, they want to continue to release other sports things as well. So yeah, it's VeVe has already confirmed that they're already in there. So yeah, I think this is where the projects just differ so much. I mean, you have one, Chili seems to just be focused on sports, while Chili's can only do what Chili's does. VeVe can do what Chili's does and what VeVe does. I don't even know if Chili's has anything to do with a metaverse or anything like that. VeVe's plans and the real utility around this, the Omi token and the NFTs and stuff like that, it's not, I don't feel like it's comparable to most projects. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Line, because it is a licensing element. Now, obviously today it's comics and, you know, these collectibles and NFTs that will eventually, I think, really become something very special. But if we see sports really take off in the NFT space, especially in the fan tokens and especially around the whole aspect of collectibles, now you've got Chili's in the game. And I think that is something, and Socios, of course, that is something to watch very closely, because that could be that parabolic move that we could be looking for. Now, the question would be, if you had to invest one or the other, depending on what kind of collector you are, if you're in the sports memorabilia and going that direction, then Chili's is probably your choice. If
Not necessarily. That's the thing. That's the difference. This is why it's really a bad comparison when you're coming down to comparing it to VeVe, because VeVe is going to have sports as well. VeVe has already confirmed the NFLPA. They've already confirmed some sports brands. Like, so it's like, it's not necessarily, oh, you're going to go with Chili's for that. You would probably go with VeVe for that because it has that plus so much other stuff.
if you're more on the digital, NFT side, maybe you're looking at digital comics, etc. VeVe definitely. If you're a Disney fan, VeVe definitely. If you're, a Marvel Universe fan, all those kind of things that are going to be dropping and continuing to kind of support the flow of content and NFTs over on VeVe, then that's a potential opportunity for you. But if you look at it from more of an investor standpoint, I would say that these two are about even right now. And I want to look.
Not even close. Not even close. From an investor standpoint, these projects are not even whatsoever. You have one who's Chili's. I've been hearing about it. It's been promoted. It's probably on a ton of exchanges. I haven't looked it up, but Chili's is more than likely on a ton of exchanges right now. The Omi project, Omi Token, and VeVe has been being held back for the longest. And if it didn't have the gloves on for the longest, and they haven't been holding back its growth and explosion and stuff like that, like, this project would have been skyrocketed. I think that Chili's is in a position where I feel like it maybe could skyrocket. It has a reputation, it has a name, everyone knows about it. It's just, it doesn't seem to be doing what everyone has said that it was going to do. I mean, like I said, I don't look too heavily into it. I'm not a huge investor in Chili's or anything like that. And what I specialize in is Ecomi and understanding this project. But yeah, it's not the same.
At just as a warning, though, I want to jump to one article here. So this is a European Football League Arsenal. Ads for crypto fan tokens have been banned by the UK advertising watchdog. Now, this is the one little hiccup in the scenario, is that if we get regulation on some of these fan tokens, this particular situation, it was just, I think, probably Arsenal getting a little too aggressive on their advertising campaign. And their advertising watchdog basically says, hey, you can't do that anymore. The likelihood is they're going to fix this, but I want you to be aware of it. The fact is that those kinds of regulatory scenarios could come into play, especially around sports. And I often wonder about that, because this is getting into where you can.
Yeah, so I just looked it up. Chili's is on 181 different exchanges, while the Omi token is on what, 4? So it's a whole different ball game. It's not a comparison. It's not close. Comparing this project to Omi in any way, it just doesn't work, because it's like, and that's the thing. It's very nuanced details that if you're not just in this community every single day, you just would not notice certain things. Like, you would not notice how many more advantages that Chili's is supposed to have. On paper, it's supposed to have certain advantages that it just does not have. Like, so many of these projects have hundreds of exchanges that they're on and things like that. And then you just have Ecomi here with 4 that's still outperforming most of these other projects. So yeah, I don't think I would not consider them close at all. I would consider I think that's a big deal. The fact that they're on this many exchanges and stuff like that. This, like, Chili's is on Binance, Coinbase. It's like, you're on Binance, Coinbase, KuCoin. You have every reason to be winning right now. Every reason to be blowing up. Yeah, it's like, it's different.
And also talk about maybe moving into organized sports betting, things of that nature could start to play in these scenarios. There's a lot in the sports arena side of things that are going to be huge. And I don't think blockchain has completely made the full leap. Now, we see a lot of it in soccer, mainly because there's just so much interest and because of the differences between regulatory guidance that we've seen in Europe and the EU versus what we've seen here in the US. Now, eventually at the US, if we see some sort of scenario that blockchain gets integrated, whether it's through fan tokens, something like Socios, or if we see it maybe evolving into something even bigger, then of course, all bets are off, because I think I would definitely lean in to the sports side of things. So I want to jump over to just the sentiment rundown on both these tokens. Chili's sentiment right here. This is the December update, but it is a 60-day running or trailing sentiment. So you've got Chili's, of course, in general, 416 in sentiment, and then a 74.33 in the amplification for December. So that, again, is another buy rating. A little bit higher, I would say, though, right now, mainly because of the Immutable X news and the connection to what is really happening within the Omi app. I anticipate we're going to see a lot more frequency in the drops for electronic commerce, or excuse me, electronic comics. And I think we're going to see a lot more people getting into the VeVe ecosystem. The key here is they've got a long way to go on the social side of things. 1 million users, very good, but this really should be 5, maybe 10 million users worldwide. And I think now with Immutable X playing into this in terms of low gas fees and being able to get your real value out of your assets, your NFT assets, could be a big factor with this one as well. So I would.
Well, I think that one of the biggest things is, like I said, this project has been being held back for so long because this was a project that started off only being designed for 60,000 people. Out of nowhere, they had over 100,000. Then it blew up even quicker to like what we're over 2 million downloads. It's like that's something that they weren't prepared for. So they had to take time, slow things down, and this is why it took a while for VeVe to build up to where it's at right now. It's not that they can't get to this 5-10 million user mark with ease. Everyone knows that they can. It's the fact that they're not in a position right now to necessarily handle that. So once, I think Immutable X will definitely help. Immutable X is playing a great part because a lot of us have been being held back by the fact that we weren't on Immutable X. So yeah, the fact that we're there now, we are going to start seeing big things. But yeah, like I said, I don't see the comparison here. That's pretty much where we're going to end it at. It's no real comparison here. I like the fact that we are seeing more bigger channels and stuff actually start to talk about the project. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be great to see VeVe finally start to take off and separate itself from a lot of these projects that really aren't close, that people are just putting in the same lane. It's like Chili's is not even a fraction of what VeVe is, and yeah, it's just not clear to see right now because people look at money, people look at numbers and stuff like that, and or reputation, and yeah, it's just like I think Chili's has a bigger reputation right now because VeVe has been being held back in some instances. But honestly, like it doesn't clearly because we have 2 million downloads. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's weird. As far as an investment, I think a lot of people would say Chili's is like it's up there, you know, but it's not in my opinion. But let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. Let me know how you all feel about the topic. Maybe it's something that I'm missing on it. But yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. Be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications so you stay updated. And yeah, I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Peace out, y'all.